and all I could think was that this is not Miss Selwood, and her dad did not paint it. When we got back to the garage, Lester pulled over and said, "Right, I believe the arrangement is that you now return the painting." Minnie said, "Okay, are you ready?" But I shushed her. "What will you do with it then?" I said. "I shall lock it up in my cave with all the others, and I shall never ever again make the mistake of letting people come to look at them. You show people art, and all they see is money. Where is the painting?" "We want you to do something first," I said. "I'm not really in the mood to bargain." I made Lester bring the picture into the house. It was a bit depressing. All the books and most of our clothes were in big piles of boxes in the front room. I said, "Upstairs." We used to have these photos of us all on holiday in little frames all the way upstairs. Mum had taken them down now, and there were these little white spaces on the wall where the pictures had used to be. We were outside Marie's room. I knocked on the door. She shouted, "Drop dead!" I said, "Marie, it's Lester. He wants to tell you something." Then I asked him to tell her about the picture. "Your picture? Your collage with the photographs of the baby on?" "Yes, the National Gallery believe it to be a local project, and they've hung it. It's attracting more visitors than the Melendez, as a matter of fact. Ridiculous, really, but there you are. It's very successful and popular, even though it just seems to be pictures of your baby. That's how I knew what..." "I don't care," yelled Marie. I said, "No, not her picture, this one." Lester looked puzzled. I shouted through the door, "He's got something else to tell you. Something about the Mrs. Selwood's painting. It's not a painting of Miss Elsa." There was a long silence from the room. Then the door opened, and Marie peeked out. She looked as though she'd been crying for a month. Her eyes were all red and her skin was all dry. She saw the painting and growled. I thought she was going to kick it. I said, Wait, it's not her. This isn't Miss Elsa. It's nothing to do with her." "Well, who is it then?" I looked at Lester. He can't help himself. Even when he's cross, he loves to lecture. He cleared his throat and said, "Interesting question. The model's name was Maria Pasqua. She was quite famous for a while. As you can see, she was extraordinarily beautiful." "She's not even related to Mrs. Selwood?" "Not at all. She was from the Abruzzi region of Italy, from a peasant family. Her family were extremely poor, and when this exquisite creature was born to them, they saw it as an opportunity to improve their lot. Her father took her to Rome. At the time, it was custom for people with interesting faces to wait on the Spanish steps in the hope that artists would hire them as models. There was an old man with a big beard who was often hired to model God. A lot of young women who got to be the Virgin Mary, and so on. When this girl turned up, everyone wanted to paint her." "What as?" "Well, nothing really. She was just so beautiful, as you can see. She was painted by almost everyone that season, and then the time came for the various studios to exhibit. All the paintings of the little peasant girl were snapped up." "So did she get really famous?" "More complicated than that, I'm afraid. An English countess fell in love with her face and tried to buy one of the paintings, but was too late, so he bought the girl instead." We all said, "What?" "She summoned the girl's father and offered the child a good life and a good education if he agreed never to see her again. The family was poor. I'm not sure the father understood all that the countess was saying, but he agreed." "And what happened to her?" said Marie. "She went with the countess thinking that she was going to be a model for her for the afternoon, and she never saw her family or her country again." We all stared at the picture, thinking that when it was painted the girl didn't know this was going to happen to her. Even Max was quiet. "But what happened then?" said Marie. Lester said, "I believe her father wrote to her quite often, but she never got the letters. She lived to be quite old." Marie said, "What happened to her face?" "Oh," said Lester, "she was always beautiful, and she married and had children, and they were beautiful too." Marie looked at him and said, "Of course she had children. Why didn't anyone say that?" She threw her arms around Lester and kissed him. Then she kissed Max, and she kissed Minnie. She'd have kissed me if I'd let her. And she went downstairs, talking 19 to the dozen, just like she used to, and said to Lester, "Do you know, I've been locked in that room for weeks because of that picture. And now the same picture. Well, it set me free. Thanks, Lester." "Quentin." "Thanks, Quentin." I could see that he was sort of starting to be happy again. She asked him if he wanted to stay for tea, but he said he had some business to attend to, and he looked at me and Minnie. Minnie said, "You've had the picture back for ages. We hid it in the other one. It's in the frame. Check it if you don't believe us." He did check. He took some flowers out just as Mum was coming through the door, and we all sat in front of the picture for a while, as though it was a fire and we were warming ourselves. Mum stayed there longest of all. "They make you feel like nothing else matters," she said. I went with Lester to the car. He said, "Why did you do it? Was it all planned from the very beginning?" "No, I really did enjoy the paintings, even though I didn't know about them. Everyone liked them." Then I told him about all the insurance men, how they put the premium up because of the gallery being there, and he said, "Oh, is that all? You should have come to me with that. It's more fun for community relations. I'm sure I could cover that for you. I'll let you know. And off he went, and I thought, well, why didn't we think of that in the first place? Just after the Mrs. Selwood came through and I opened the gate for them, Miss Edna seemed quite cheery. We made £100, she said. Imagine. But Miss Elsa was sitting there like a broken teddy. She's upset because she thought that Da made that painting of her. I told her not to be so silly. What difference does it make if you can't see it? I'm just telling Dylan about how silly you are, Elsa. That night in bed, a text message beeps on Marie's phone. It said, RT and AB are an item, official. It took me 10 minutes to figure out that it wasn't some strange coded threat from Barry and Tone. It was just someone from Marie's class passing on gossip. But then I was too awake to go to sleep. I just lay there thinking, and the more I thought, the more obvious it was that everything was my fault. All the way back to Miss Stanner's fiesta. Everything was my fault. I told Barry and Tone about the Mini. I told them where Dad was, even the robbery. It was Minnie's plan, but she's my little sister. I'm a big brother. Big brothers are supposed to stop little sisters becoming involved in major robberies, aren't they? Big brothers are supposed to look after little sisters. And who is supposed to look after big brothers? Dads. And where was mine?